it's an interesting thing is us two have seen this matchup kind of. It's more of Eradicators versus Regalia.
Yeah, I've been playing the Regalia into Erads a decent bit to try to get more comfortable with the matchup. Although my build and Amelia's build are very different. I don't run the board pop, I run much more of a self-centered Regalia engine. It's very much just I'm trying to do my stuff. I don't really interact with theirs as much. I like both ways of playing it, but I want to make sure I hit my pieces, but it's a weird matchup because most of the time it's not too bad. But there are just some situations like that where you just, what can you do against a triple chip, right?
Yeah, I think another thing that you have to keep in mind is that Regalia in general, Stunverse really doesn't affect it if you have the right setup.
Yeah. One of the best things you can do, right? Well, the one thing to keep in mind too, is especially against Erads, is that their G guards, they either need Thunderstrike 4 or GB1. So if you're riding up first, your Murdoch play is free. They cannot really interact with you when you do your first ride up. And I think that's one of the best things about that matchup is a lot of decks that are problematic have a way to interact with you during your first ride up where you're trying to get as much advantage as possible. They can't really do that. And I think that's pretty important. And it looks like Amilia chooses to go second, which kind of makes sense. The first Minerva ride up we can get it is pretty important. So our first couple turns will be pretty quick as these decks don't do nearly as much early game plays as the previous decks game we watched. So once we get to the grade 3 turns, that's important. Now we do get to ride the PG, which is great because we can swing under.
Yeah, I also don't think that it's the worst thing in the world because then you can Soul Blast it out and get it back if you ride Glepnir, obviously.
Most matchups, I actually prefer to ride the PG over anything else because we get to swing under and we're going to get it back later.
Yep. So Amilia is going to take the first damage, and I do believe that is a signify that she has a Glepnir in hand, maybe.
It is possible. She's using the new grade 2, which is very good. That's what the counterblast is going to go for. Mm-hmm. We get a free top, well, not free, but we get a top search to see what we want, see if we want to call anything important. Maybe if we're lucky, we hit a VAR. But I'm also very tempted on this, although I'm not currently. I'm hesitant because I really like having Gleipnir in the build and Red in the build. And it's very hard to put that card in the deck.
Yep. Whenever you have your deck figured out, it's very rough to find spaces for new cards.
Yeah, especially when you get comfortable on it. But for me, I really like the rear guard skill of this card, which is just kind of some extra value. We do get the grade 3 searcher. I don't know if she's has any way of choosing to use it. Okay. So yeah, we do have an Yggdrasil in hand, so she does get the reveal. She can go get her Frage if she wants, the preferred ride. Because that's another thing that can be a little difficult. Yeah, so she gets her Frage. While you can ride Yggdrasil,
most of the time it's not preferred.
Going second, it is bad because if you ride Yggdrasil, you have to do the mark. Because if you stride over anything else, you lose the boost. But if you do the Marduk play, you would have already done your boost, and it's fine. So we get the 5k stand, we hit Dreaming Dragon, give the 5k to the rear guard, and of course, it's still an easy guard. It's just a 12k. So Robert does go to 1, we get our grade 2 right up, and things begin. Simple turn here. We're just going to get our Excel and swing Van.
So we're going
to see another heal. So immediately Robert's going to go back.
And Amilia does damage one of the Yggdrasils.
It's okay because we know she has one in hand. So she'll at least get her first turn. Which is one of the most important, I think, with Regalia is if your first turn hits you very strong, if you see crits, if you see a lot of pressure, it makes the next turns much better. Plus, you're getting 5 cards in hand from the objects. So see the Dreaming Dragon coming down to guard, which in a matchup that doesn't go very long, it's fine. You're probably not going to deck yourself out against Vanquish.
So here we are. We are going to do the Superior Ride into full Bronto.
Yep. Does retire the grade 1, which is not really a card we like so much. Get our second Van Swing for just 1 damage. So we are going to go up to 3 damage on the melee side. She will begin her turn. Knows she has the phrase. She gets to ride up, get her force 2. The question is, how much is she going to commit to this turn? Because Robert's hand size is very large.
Yeah.
Crazy to think when you get 2 Excel 2s on your, superior riding turn, plus the 2 Vanguard swings, a decently sized hand. To no one's surprise. The options. At this point, I think the goal is to hit the hand, right? Because he's at 0. You're not going to kill him this turn. So I think, honestly, it's just about how do we destroy the hand enough that we can survive the next turn. And because our Minerva turn, that's a turn we can maybe kill.
So we are going to see if she... So she's choosing not to stride again, so she's using the effect. We are going to look at the top of our deck. See what we would like to call.
I think choosing not to stride here is correct if we see the Marta. Because we get to the without, hurting our hand. Grade 2's nice.
So I do wonder if we're going to use the rest of our counterblast to do this.
She needs to save 1 if she doesn't have a VAR in hand from doing the VAR.
So we are going to give it a Divine Gauge. So it is going to be protected. So that means now that if Robert does go into full Bronto at all, the grade 2 is not going to be retired. And we do have the FAR.
Yeah, we have VAR, so that means we can make a play that uses the CP because she'll be able to countercharge her back.
Yep.
Right. So here we're most likely going to get the Norn, and most likely we're going to put a gauge on the Norn and the VAR.
And then we are going to put our Divine Gauge, I believe, on the Norn. Yep.
She can choose 2, so yeah, she's going to put it on the VAR as well. The VAR is going to give us our countercharge. And
Basically, our board does now have pseudo resist, and we are going to use the VAR.
We hit 1 trigger, so some deck bending. I believe the other 2 were both Regalias, though, which is what you want to see.
Yeah. We did hit Dreaming Dragon again.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people think that card was put at 1. No, it has never had any sort of thing.
Not restricted. And we get the 2 cost reducers, so Marduk will simply be a counterblast this turn.
Yep.
Crazy value. So in this case, the only thing that does not have resist is Yggdrasil, which is kind of unfortunate if he does have the G-Guards to pop something here. Because Yggdrasil is the last thing we want to go when we're not swinging Vanguard first.
So we are going to go into the Marduk. We don't have to pay any Soul Blast for it.
Correct. It is just a counterblast because it is Soul Blast 6, and we call 2 3-cost reducers. So simply a counterblast will do it. We get our Superior Stride.
So we did have a no guard on Robert's side.
Yeah, at this point he's very clear to be able to do that.
And we hit a crit.
So 3 damage is going to Robert, and the 5k will go to Yggdrasil. Oh, that's a bad hit. We get a defensive on Robert's side. which definitely helps him a lot here. Our Yggdrasil column is currently 28, so the defensive makes that a simple 1 card. Nothing too crazy.
I do think another thing that Vanquisher is very good about is that it's able to clear its board enough so that you're forced to attack the Vanguard.
Yes.
So we see she's hesitant about
using the Norn skill. Yep. I agree that it is not worth it to put the Norn at risk for another attack that is 1 card from its hand.
So we are going to go into the Stunverse, which is going to clear most of the board.
Yeah, it's going to take 3. Because it can take the Yggdrasil, it can take the 2 cost reducers, which I think was a big oversight in not giving the Yggdrasil a catch when Stunverse was an option.
Yeah.
Personally, knowing that the Yggdrasil was in hand, I would have called it before doing Frage skill to make sure that we could get the gauge there, or just done it on the Frage attack.
So in total, we did see 7 units
go into bind.
And 1 trigger. So it's 6 units, 1 trigger.
Yeah. Very, very painful Stunverse turn here. Now she has a 3, so it's a survivable turn, but I think the bigger problem is that his hand is already big and it's only going to get bigger.
And since we did see Vanquisher Road last turn, there was 1 already in the bind zone, so we do have the 8 that is going to make her get rid of 2 cards in hand.
Yeah. Hopefully the hand is able to survive it and still have something to guard with. It's going to be very tough. However, Overtrigger's still in deck.
So we are going to be using Vanquisher's skill at the moment, where both players are going to bind a card from their hand.
Yeah, she has to get it.
Yep. And then
as much as you want to keep it, it's only a 5k shield. You really need to hang on to it.
And then just like with every Vanquisher-based card, every time that it is bound, it gets called out.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are. I did see that he's running the sweep command in his deck, which is kind of interesting. I do think that its effect in general is still really good.
Yeah, it's still a very generally strong card. I don't think there's a point. We do hit a heal, so she'll stay at 3.
We also do have a CB open, which some of our G cards do need. I don't know why I cleared that.
Yeah, so we're changing damage. Stayed at 3. We get the CB open, which is good. I think the most important G guard, though, for this right now, doesn't even get the CB, so I think she can save it till next turn.
So we do hit another defensive, so we are at 33 right now.
That might make this turn very livable, because those rear guards are going to have a harder time hitting.
Especially considering that he did not go into
he was
Exterminate.
Sunverse, not Exterminate, so the numbers are much smaller.
We do see that the full Bronto is coming down.
Get a perfect guard. Pitching the other perfect guard, most likely setting up for Soul Blasting later to bind them and get them back to hand.
So we do see a heal coming down. The heal is not going to proc off, but we are going to see him give 10k.
Yeah. Again, if she wants to go to 5 or not here. She will choose to intercept with the Great Two. Oh yes, the PJ needs to go there. It got forgotten. The other rear guards I don't believe are big enough to hit. I know the one was not. I don't think this one was. It did get the 10k from the heal. Okay, looks like it was not big enough, so we simply on the next turn. Now, she did survive. If she can strive, if she can go into Minerva, it is potential to deal some real damage. I do not believe she has any way of getting the GB3. Well, she can get GB3, but getting the
we do see that we do see that the lack of having the heal guard in hand is going to affect this turn somewhat. But we are going to go into Minerva.
Yeah. We get the Minerva. She can definitely get the important skill, but here's the problem: the Norn is not behind the Vanguard. No. So she is simply an attacker next turn. Now, we could Norn skill and see maybe an Yggdrasil. Because that would have been pretty much the one piece that sets the turn up perfect, right? And we soul charge the Yggdrasil.
Yep. So we do have some unfortunate soul charging going on.
Unless what she do is a Gleipnir. Sure, Gleipnir is just sad.
Yeah.
It's the cost reducer. So we are at least getting the Minerva skill. If she has 6 in soul, or 6 Regalia in soul, she could do the GB3. Okay, she's opting to do the Minerva soul last 3.
So Robert's preemptively,
we know what's in the hand.
yeah,
We saw the try.
we know what's in the hand, but Robert is preemptively just setting up his hand on how he wants to guard.
We know exactly what is coming this turn. So we will see the far skill.
There's all those hero guards that we
There goes
needed.
2 heals and a Gleipnir.
And so we do see
The board
that
wipes
he's going
are
to
coming.
triple G guard to make sure that he clears the board, and that he uses the PG for this attack.
Yep. It is unfortunate, but we saw it coming because we knew the heal guard.
I don't really think that he needed to use triple heal guard, but you know.
I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
Because there's no hand on Regalia's side. She's only going to have.
So we do hit a heal.
Yeah, she's only going to have what she drive checks here. Right? So at this point, with how much advantage you have, you may as well just crush their resources and, just hold that advantage. Just play that game, right? Because now she has 4 cards in hand. One of them is a heal, one of them was a 10k shield. And you're set, right? You can go to exterminate, there's no board. All your numbers are big, she basically cannot guard it.
So here we are just gonna call out a full board.
Yes.
So they were.
She accidentally put one of her souls.
So I do believe that
she.
I do believe that she accidentally put Vanagander up on the
I
top.
have done that before. When I go to Soul Charge, I think I pick up the Stride and the Vanguard. I only picked up the Stride, and then like a minute later, I'm like, where did my hard card go? Where did my Vanguard go?
You're like, I wasn't here a second
Pretty sure
ago.
I didn't ride a heal guard.
Pretty sure that I'm not at a grade 0.
Yeah. So we are going to 4 on Amelia's side.
Now I won't really rule her out right now because there is a good chance that she can come back
The
in.
deck is very thin. We have not seen OT yet. So you never know, right? Defensive OT could turn this game around entirely.
Yep.
Shout out to Ban OT, by the way. I mean, what?
Yeah, no T. Especially, it's just in premium. Like I do.
Yeah,
I had the not the luxury, but I had the disadvantage of being basically OT sacked yesterday during a game that I had all of the control in the world in both game 1, game 2, and game 3, and just one of it sucks to lose to.
I know the feel. I played 3 games of premium this morning just when I got here, just for fun, and I got OT'd all 3 times.
Oh yeah.
Still won one of them, so I learned that I think Aphris. I'm gonna start treating that Stride better because that Stride is so much fun. I've never in my life. Because
Just imagine you came in where Ultima and the OT was dealt with immediately.
yeah, I strode into Aphris. I looked my opponent dead in the eye and said, "You ever seen someone Soul Blast 15 before?" It's such a fun card. And honestly, I think that's why I've come to like Regalia a lot, as I picked it up in the same thing that I like Jewel Knights, is they're both very flexible. You have a lot of ways that you can play the deck.
So let's see. We hit dry checks right now, so not all is lost for her. But Cho'o does restand, so this is still another hefty swing.
Correct. She can still take a hit, though. I believe it looks like she is going to choose to go to 5 here, and it was a grade 3. The Fringe, unfortunately, not a defensive, not what we want to see. choose 2 cards left in hand. Yeah.
So we do choose the guard. So we are going to replay.
We're hoping for a 6 damage heal or 6 damage OT here, basically.
We did. I think we were out of.
So I think it's just OT.
Yep.
And another grade 3 damage for Robert.
So we do see that Vanquisher takes down Regalia.